Hər vaxtınız xeyir olsun. Good morning everyone. Xahiş edirəm, hər kəs yerinə qayıtsın. Please take your seat. We're gonna start soon. As climate continues to change and the greenhouse emission increases, there is an essential need for change our practice, particularly transportation practice, into the sustainable transport. Sustainable transport is not only rely on the natural resource, such as oil, gas, but it is more about how you use the transport forms, transport patterns to make the environment more sustained. In public transportation, it is more about the sustainable transport forms, the trains, electric buses, trams. In personal and the private vehicles is more about the electric vehicles, bicycles, scooters. I love this screen, how the organizer designed the screen. If you can play, you see here the people-centric mobility. You can see all kind of the mobility is more sustainable transport forms. People-centric mobility is a key feature of the success of any cities. Azerbaijan have a huge chance since all the territory of the Karabakh, building from the scratch, including all the private, public buildings, all kind of the infrastructure like roads, railways. How to make the people-centric mobility? There is three main key elements that we have to consider. First is the connectivity. How we connect the people, making them able to move one place to another fast, safely, but using those sustainable transport forms. Second one is the sustainability transport. It's being that how we use the natural resource. Instead of natural resource, we use the renewable resource, like renewable energy, to make sure that goods and the people move one place to another. And the third one is the optimizing of the mobility. How many we do have options? All kind of the people, how we are our mobility are the inclusive? Do we consider all kind of needs of the different people, like senior people, women with children, person with disability? Is that our city is built for cars or for people? Those kind of the question is very important to think about while we design cities, implement the construction projects, and etc. Now we have a very distinguished panelists, and I would like to give the floor for them to talk more about this kind of the sustainable transportation for driving sustainable urban development. And our first guest panelist is the Andrew Grifton. He's an architect, and he's an architect also includes design of the master plans. He works for Chapman Taylor. Please, Andre, force yours.
Sorry, how do these slides move forward? Sorry. Okay, good morning. So, sustainable transport strategies, and we're going to look at Shusha and Jabral and how we have worked on those two projects. We're very honoured to have been working with the State Committee on the master plans for both Shusha and Jabral, and I will use these two schemes as examples as to how we have implemented a sustainable transport strategy. The first starting point is you've got to have a vision. It's a vision for a green city, and we need to design our transportation strategies to focus on people. It has to be inclusive, the routes have to be safe, clean, secure, and it's all about health and walkability. In terms of what we did with Shusha, when the city was reclaimed, people were living in Shusha. And when you look at the historical city, if you think about how that city operated before the arrival of the car, there was an inherent historical street pattern. And that would have been in that location for a reason, because it was easy for people to walk around that city. So we established the historical street pattern, and then we evolved it with the primary and the secondary street pattern to be able to accommodate a population of 25,000 people. Jabral was very different. The city had been effectively removed from the face of the earth, just ruins existed there. But again, we established where the historical street pattern would have been, and we evolved the new street pattern based on those principles. So having established the primary and secondary street pattern, we then look at what we call an extensive green area strategy. And this is a landscape strategy that isn't constrained to the highways. It's a strategy that allows people to navigate across the city, shortcut across the city, making them even more walkable by having these safe, secure landscape routes that pass through the city. And here's an example for Shusha, for example, where you can see on the left-hand side of the image, the highway, but cutting across it is this green landscape corridor, providing for an easy, accessible route across the city in a very much safe, secure way. The same for Jabral. We have a major square there which connects to a green landscape strategy that encourages people to use those green corridors as walkable access into the main central space. But having established the primary and secondary highways and the landscape strategy, we then need to start thinking about the local amenities. Where are they distributed within the master plan? How can we spread them around the master plan to stop people having to travel long distances across the city to meet their needs? So the distribution of sort of the local hubs within the master plan, encouraging walkability, and then major public spaces, new hearts to the city as part of that, where people can meet, socialize, and spend time with their neighbors. So this is the main space in Shusha, but the same again for Jabral, where we have a new main space for people to socialize, to meet, and to greet. And then having thought about the local communities, and we need to then look at the schools, the primary schools. How do people walk to their schools? So splitting the two master plans up into a series of districts to make sure the schools are well located within those master plans. So from the new residential districts, this is a residential quarter in Shusha, you can walk from these new residential neighborhoods to your local primary school. Now, of course, we can't just rely on walking around the city. We do have to have a public transport system. So here we have an electric bus network with bus stops distributed around the highway network to ensure that people can have easy access to an electric bus that takes you around the city. And then moving on from electric buses, we need to look at cycling. We want to encourage cycling, so walking, cycling, ideally the first port of calls for moving around a city. So a cycling strategy, cycle routes and cycle parking distributed around the city. But again, the cycling has to be undertaken in a secure and safe way. So here on the left-hand side of the image, you can see a typical section of the road, landscape strip, a cycle route, and pedestrians. These are master planned around obviously the main highway routes. And when you look at the image on the right, you can see the main highway through the center of the high street in Shusha. But when you look at that at ground level, you can see on the left-hand side, you have the car, you have the cycle route in red, and then you have the pedestrianised space for people to walk on. So again, secure transport for the cycles, the cars, and actually for the pedestrians. And likewise in Jabral, on the right-hand side, you can see where we have the cycle routes dedicated adjacent to main highways, but not just to the highways, they're also passing through the landscape setting, these green routes that run through the city. So the cycle routes also passing through the green corridors that we've talked about. And likewise, where we have sort of tighter spaces in the historical areas where we don't have the space to put in these separated routes, we do have shared routes where we have pedestrians and cyclists sharing the space, but still identifying where those particular routes are within the public realm. So in summary, when we're looking at a green, sustainable transportation strategy for any master plan, we need to think about what is the vision. We need to start off by thinking about who are we delivering this for. And it's about designing for people. It's about making it safe, secure, clean air, green landscape corridors. Ultimately, it is about giving our cities back to the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Andrea, to present the master plan of the Jabal in my hometown. And I also wish that the sustainable transportation system will be placed in the Jabal. Also, people, all the people will be use many form of the sustainable transportation. And to thinking about the integrating transport and the system and the mobility for all, our next speaker, Heydar Rustamov, Mr. Heydar Rustamov will talk about how we can make the transportation system and the mobility for all. Let me just briefly introduce Mr. Heydar Mallim. He's an accomplished professional and academic, diverse academic background, and in public administration and also microeconomics and cooperative strategy. His career journey starts different leadership roles in different aligned ministries. Currently, he is serving as a deputy chairperson of the board at the Azerbaijan Land Transport Agency. Mr. Heydar Rustamov, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, moderator. I also greet all of participants, distinguished guests. Welcome to our country. Today, nevertheless, my presentation is Azerbaijan language, but I will try to in English and to introduce you with reflected in my presentation. As we know that nowadays Azerbaijan 2030 socio-economic development national priority was approved by presidential decree. Some priorities, all that sphere of the economy defined, but one of the three of them is which related in our sphere. That's why I would like to extract and to introduce that. One of them is sustainable and competitive economic dynamic inclusiveness and social fairness in the base society, and human capital and modern innovational space. That's why all these create social welfare, purchase parity, also peoples. All these take and give chance for creating urban mobility. Therefore, nowadays there are three strategic views that urban mobility system should be based on these three strategic views. One of them is multimodality, which we need completeness, all transport modes. We need also integration, all transport modes, and to create resilience and sustainable development, all transport modes. Only with this we can create passenger satisfaction. That's why the main aim is to create a balance between the principal strategic view and create urban mobility systems in our country. Also, I would like to interest your attention that the main hierarchy of the urban mobility systems is and also preference in our activity. It is the benchmark and international challenge that all cities should be pedestrian, and if we take this hierarchy, pedestrian it is the first stage layer, and second should be public transport and micromobility vehicles and velocipede, scooters, and third one should be urban logistics, and last and first should be own cars, because of if we want to establish pedestrian city and a public transport based city, we need to follow this hierarchy. Also, we have take in our activities this hierarchy. Also, we have started implementing the projects that which serve this hierarchy. Although there are 4 principles for urban mobility systems, the principles, if we take in our activities this principle, I think that we can reach our targets, which take us to the future, which first one is we create transport for all peoples, regardless their status, social status, and workplace is a fight. We need to create accessible transport all the peoples. Second one should be efficiency. We need to provide people passenger quality, reliable, economical, effectively mobility systems, mobility services. Also, we need to create and establish the environment that which serve and which decrease significantly mortality, days of participants of road process. We need to decrease the mortality ratio in the road accidents. Also, in our target and also state programs also reflect this as a targets in our transport agency. The last one is we need also ecological clean environment to create in our country. Therefore, we need to minimize negative effects in the environment of the transports. We need to decrease the pollution, and we need to use electrical and CNG-based buses and transport modes in the city and the micromobility vehicles. In our urban mobility, sustainable urban mobility systems, the main strategic targets and aims is it depends on regardless remote and closer where locate. We need to create accessibility to the people to the public transport, and we create transport resilience, economical effectively transportation system to increase. Also, in our activity, we take the mobility policy which based on leans 3 pillars. One of them is avoiding. What we need to avoid? We need to create a balance between and also create our policy and to pursue our policy based on requirement of the transport. Also, we need to replace transport modes, new challenge for the resilient, sustainable new transport modes, public transport, railway transport, micro-mobility vehicles, etc. Also, we need to improve. We need to improve using our fleet, transport fleets. We need to decrease saving fuel. We need to use our fleet, renew our electric buses in our bus fleets. Also, we need to increase renewable energy-based transport system. Thus, we can say that in our transport fleets, CNG and electrical buses, we are trying to increase fleets based on CNG and electro buses. Also, if our based on and suitable to our topics, integrated transport system is main and crucial for us. Therefore, we need to integration. Firstly, physical integration. We need to create hubs in urban planning process with physical hubs. We need to create and need to improve road infrastructure. Also, the second one, we need to unique payment system, unique payment cards, use all transport modes that people starting and to destination use one unique payment cards. Also, we need to not only physical, also we need to create, establish, merge networks, all transport networks together. Also, based on this, we need to also information integration that based on the people easily and will be useful, user-friendly, all people plan your visit and the destination. We hope that these integrated transport modes can give a lot to reach decreasing significantly the congestion in the city. Therefore, we have started implementing the projects that also serve to decreasing. For example, I can say that paid parking system and creating digital twin in the country based on the digital twin. All the transport modes integration will be a database decision, and based on database decision, we will planning routes and planning mobility systems, and we try to create gold average between transport mode, which will need to link the passengers' requirements. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Heydar Rustamov. What we hear from Mr. Rustamov's presentation is that mobility strategy hangs on the principle of modality, integrated, and sustainable urban mobility development. And it's not only for improving the air quality, but also improve of the life of the people living in the city. Now, our next speaker, Ellen Mirishvili, will talk more about the public open space for urban resilience and more about how we can adapt our mobility system to make sure that we have a resilient environment and the resilient cities. Mr. Ellen Mirishvili is a professor in local governance and urban resilience and climate adaptation. She's elected a city, local city and serve as a deputy mayor for urban nature and the climate's resilience. And she's oversee about 400 staff, and introduces a clear vision for a climate adaptation and urban ecology, driving collaboration, design, and the digitalization of the solution protecting the environment. Mrs. Elena Mirashvili, floor is yours.
Hello, distinguished guests. Thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here. I arrived in Baku last night, so I haven't seen any of it yet, but I hear it's a very walkable city, and I'm very much looking forward to walking around this afternoon and tomorrow. I am a heat expert. I talk about heat in cities, and I talk about how most of us do not realize how dangerous heat is, and how in this world, even though we've been talking about global warming, we haven't been talking about extreme heat in cities and how cities actually are not built for the type of weather that we will be facing in the future. Mobility is a very big part of that. Mobility today is responsible for 20% of world GHG emissions, and unless we do something about it, we are right now actually accelerating the emissions that we're producing from mobility worldwide. So we're on a climbing trajectory rather than actually lowering the trajectory of GHG emissions from mobility. And as my previous speakers said very correctly, the whole mobility model has been changing in cities, and more cities are looking into mobility that is what we call slow mobility, based on slowly moving away from cars, from individually owned cars, really trying to support public transportation, to really support the ability for people to walk and to use micro-mobility transportation, because this creates cities that are not only more healthy. We know that pollution is one of the #1 killers today of people all around the world, but also it makes cities more desirable, more beautiful, and people like to live in them more. People really like not to have to cross with their cars to go to work or do things with their cars all the time. They really enjoy living in a smaller kind of multi-central and decentralized way. And I hear that Baku has this capacity of actually having neighborhoods and having districts that can be already more walkable and more livable. So this is something that we really have to look into, because as I said, not only does it help us lower emissions, and this is a really important thing, but it also helps us create cities that are more anthropocentric, and which means that we have to design, every time that we design cities, we have to think about how do we make them more, as I said, desirable and more available to people, accessible to people, but also how they can protect people and protect them from the extreme climate events that we have ahead of us. So every time that we think of any kind of infrastructure, including mobility, we have to think that in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30 years, the kind of climate that we're going to have is going to be much hotter, much hotter, and it's also going to have extreme events, which means that we're also going to have much more precipitation, that is going to be a lot of water that falls much more suddenly on our cities, which has to do also with the climbing heat, because the hotter the environment, the more humidity gathers in the air, and the more intensity we have in the phenomena of flooding and what we call cloudbursts. So we will have more heat and more dryness and more sudden water. So this we have to take into consideration in the type of infrastructures we make, and this we have to take into consideration on the type of mobility that we make. So especially in relation to heat, we have to always think of the fact that people need shade. People really, for comfort, for thermal comfort, walking in the city, people really have to have shade. And the best shade is trees, because trees also lower temperatures more than just shade, because they do this thing called evapotranspiration, which means that they suck thermal energy from the environment to turn water, anyway, doesn't matter. They do this thing called evapotranspiration, which lowers temperatures, which makes the type of coolness that we feel under a tree much more intense. I mean, we all know that, much more intense than just a shaded cement structure, let's say. So we have, but any kind of shading, trees are better, but any kind of shading makes our cities more walkable and makes our cities more thermally comfortable for people. So we have to move away from this idea of these enormous squares that that are very big and impressive architecturally, and we have to go into the type of smaller of squares that do have structures that protect people, that actually shade and protect people. The same with walkable streets. We have to create walkable streets that we have to always take into consideration shading. And I heard that you have bus stops here in Baku that actually have cooling incorporated in them, which is fantastic, because often bus stops are terrible for people because they sit in the shade and they suffer a lot. But so bus stops is something that we have to think about. It's great if we integrate nature-based solutions in all these things that we do, because air conditioning is not a solution. We have to think very carefully how we use air conditioning and use it moderately and use it for the most vulnerable people of our population, because it does save lives. But I know in Azerbaijan you had a heat wave in 2018, which, right, it was a really serious heat wave, which actually brought about a blackout. So we can't totally depend on air conditioning. We have to think very carefully. Air conditioning heats up the public space more, and it also, of course, creates many more GHG emissions. Cars and air conditioning are the two human-producing heat, the most human-producing heat in cities. The rest of the stuff is the the materials that our cities have, which actually absorb heat. So we have created cities that are particularly bad for a hotter weather, particularly bad for sudden floods. So when we do create and we do develop our cities for the future, especially in the mobility sector, we have to think of all of these future challenges that we will be facing, so that we don't do a maladaptation to the conditions that we're facing, but we actually carefully do a systemic approach to the city, so that we look at the city and we figure out where are the vulnerable spots. We create heat maps, and we figure out how to create transportation that is human-centric and that it makes our cities more beautiful and more desirable. Thank you very much.
I appreciate Mrs. Ellen about talking about the nature-based solution, and it is really crucial to find the solution that are have a less damage to the environment and the nature, but still we can move around. And our next and the last speakers will talk more about the urban transportation modeling and the challenge and the solutions. Ellen actually, her speech, she talked a little bit more about the solution. But our next speaker, Arshad Hüseyinov, will talk other challenge and the solutions to make sure that urban transportation modeling is out. Arshad Hüseyinov is a chairperson of Müstəqil Nəqliyyatçılar Consulting and the Information Public Union, and he also is a transportation expert in Azerbaijan, based in Azerbaijan. Arshad müəllim, sizin də buyurun.
Salam, xoş gördük. Hər vaxtınız xeyir olsun. Məndən əvvəlki həmkarlarım mobilliklə bağlı, şəhər nəqliyyatı ilə bağlı fikirlərini bölüşdülər. Mən bəzi məsələlər təkrarlamadan çalışacağım, qısa olaraq öz fikirlərimi çatdırım. Öncə onu deyim ki, şəhər mobilliyi və şəhərlərin nəqliyyat modellərinin yaradılması, bunlar hardasa üst-üstə düşən anlayışlardır. Müasir şəhər nəqliyyat modelinin yaradılması, dayanıqlı nəqliyyat modelinin qurulması və onun real icra olunmasını ehtiva edir. Bu model həmin şəhərdə yaşayanlara, o şəhərə qonaq gələnlərə rahat və təhlükəsiz həyat şəraitini təmin eləməlidir. Bunun üçün də ilk növbədə bildiyiniz kimi o yerdəyişmələrə sərf olunan vaxtın düzgün olması vacibdir. Böyük şəhərlərdə tıxac problemi var, çox təəssüf ki. Bax, bu tıxac probleminin olmaması üçün şəhər nəqliyyatı, şəhər mobilliyi elə qurulmalıdır ki, insanlar ən qısa vaxtda arzuladıqları istiqamətlərə gedə bilsinlər. Düzdür, bunun altında şəhər salma ilə də bağlı çox ciddi məsələlər var, amma ən vacib məsələ nəqliyyat məsələsidir ki, insanlar qısa müddətdə arzuladıqları, istədikləri istiqamətlərdə gedə bilsinlər. Və müasir dövrdə bir 15 dəqiqəlik şəhər konsepsiyası deyilən bir ideya var. Bax, bu ideya məhz həmin məsələnin həll edilməsinə yönəlib. Şəhər nəqliyyat modeli həm iqtisadi, sosial və ekoloji baxımdan da əlverişli olmalıdır. İqtisadi əlverişli o deməkdir ki, minimum investisiyalar hesabına, dövlət tərəfindən, bələdiyyələr tərəfindən qoyulan sərmayələr hesabına başa gəlməlidir. Həm də şəhərin əhalisi üçün daha az xərc istəyən bir nəqliyyat modeli olmalıdır ki, insanlar gündəlik həyatında bu xərclərini minimuma endirə bilsinlər. Ekoloji və sosial tərəfdə bildiyiniz kimi burada insanların ünsiyyətli sosiallaşması var. Ekoloji baxımdan da məndən öncə də deyildi, ən müasir yaşıl texnologiyaların tətbiqi üzərində qurulan bir sistem olmalıdır. Bu sistemdə də elektromobillərdən, elektrobuslardan istifadə, mikromobillik vasitələrindən istifadə və piyada hərəkətinin üstünlüyü çox vacib əhəmiyyət daşıyır. Dayanıqlı mobilliyi təmin etmək üçün müəyyən prioritetlər var. Həmin prioritetlər həmişə gözlənilməlidir. Birinci növbədə məndən öncə də deyildi, şəhər piyada yönümlü olmalıdır. Piyadalar üçün rahat şərait yaradılmalıdır. Bu rahat şərait həm də piyada hərəkətinin təhlükəsizliyi deməkdir. Yəni, sırf yol hərəkət təhlükəsizliyi baxımından insanlar mümkün yol nəqliyyat hadisələrinə düşməkdən də qorunmalıdırlar. Şəhər həm də cəzbedici olmalıdır. Məsələn, ola bilər ki, şəhərdə səkilər, piyada keçidləri normaldır, amma maraqlı heç nə yoxdur deyə insanlar piyada hərəkət eləmək istəmirlər. Ona görə də yaşıllıqlar olmalıdır, bol yaşıllıqlar olmalıdır, yaxşı mənzərələr olmalıdır ki, insanlar piyada gəzməyə üstünlük versinlər. Daha sonra mükəmməl nəqliyyat olmalıdır, ictimai nəqliyyat təbii ki, çeşidli və hər tərəfi əhatə edə bilən yenə də bir konsepsiya var. Şəhər ictimai nəqliyyat elə qurulmalıdır ki, insanlar yaşadığı yerdən və yaxud da işlədiyi yerdən 200 metrlik məsafədə ictimai nəqliyyat dayanacağı, məsələn, metro stansiyası, tramvay dayanacağı tapa bilsinlər. Digər bir mühüm prioritet mikromobillik vasitələrindən geniş istifadə olunması və onlar üçün imkanların yaradılmasıdır ki, bu da həm ekoloji baxımdan, həm iqtisadi baxımdan, həm də şəhərdə normal yerdəyişmələrə imkan yaradılması baxımından çox vacibdir. Ölkəmizin şəhərlərində, xüsusən də paytaxt Bakıda bildiyiniz kimi nəqliyyatla bağlı bəzi problemlər var. Həmin problemlərin belə ümumiləşdirsək, çox maraqlı bir mənzərə yaranır. Problemlərin kökündə birinci növbədə məskunlaşmadakı yanlışlıqlarımız, şəhər salma norma və qaydalarının bəzi hallarda pozulması kimi məqamlar dayanır. Daha sonra institusional problemlər var, idarə etməklə bağlı problemlər var, iqtisadi problemlər var, yəni nəqliyyatın maliyyələşdirilməsi və s. Və əhalinin yanaşmasında da yanlışlıqlar biz görmüşük. Bu da müasir şəhər nəqliyyatı modelinin qurulmasında öz sözünü deyir. Bax, şəhərsalma ilə bağlı problem nədən ibarətdir? Bildiyiniz kimi, xüsusən Abşeron aqlomerasiyasında çox intensiv məskunlaşma getdi və bu zaman şəhərsalma normaları pozulduğuna görə insanların yaşayış yeri, iş yeri və sosial xidmətlərə ehtiyacı olan məkanlar arasında böyük məsafələr yarandı. Məsələn, Abşeron yarımadasının hər yerində insanlar məskunlaşıb, amma öz övladlarını təhsil vermək üçün şəhərin mərkəzindəki məktəblərə aparmağa məcbur olurlar. Çünki yaşadığı yerlərdə onların ehtiyaclarını ödəyəcək məktəb yoxdur. Yaxud da yenə də ətraflarda məskunlaşıblar, amma şəhər mərkəzlərində iş yerlərinə gəlirlər. Bu da uzun məsafələrin qət olunması deməkdir. Nəticədə həmin o mobilliklə bağlı problemlər ortalığa çıxır. Digər bir incə məsələ, məsəl üçün elə küçələr, yollar var ki, orada səkiləri yaratmaq belə mümkün deyil. Avtobus dayanacaqları yaratmaq və həmin küçələrdən müasir avtobuslarla daşımaları təşkil etmək mümkün deyil. Məskunlaşmanın yaratdığı belə problemlər var. İnstitusional problemlərimiz də kifayət qədər ciddi olubdur. Məsəl üçün, Sovet dövründən qalma yanaşmalar var idi ki, həmin yanaşmalar aradan qaldırılmalıdır və dövlət müstəqilliyinin bərpasından sonra bir neçə dəfə istiqamətlər dəyişdi. Birisi Sovet dövründə icra hakimiyyətləri bu işlərlə məşğul oldular. Daha sonra Nəqliyyat Nazirliyi yaradıldı. Nəqliyyat Nazirliyindən sonra Bakı Nəqliyyat Agentliyi və ən sonunda bildiyiniz kimi AYNA mövcuddur. Ümid edirik ki, AYNA əvvəllər, ondan əvvəlki sələflərdən yığılıb qalan problemlərin həllində bir çıxış yol tapacaqdır. Ciddi məsələlərdən biri iqtisadi məzmunlu məsələlərdir. Çünki bildiyiniz kimi dayanıqlı ictimai nəqliyyat, ümumiyyətlə dayanıqlı mobilliyin təmin olunması üçün yatırımlara ehtiyac var. Məsələn, biz məndən əvvəldə deyildi, mikromobillik üçün şərait yaradılması, velosiped infrastrukturu, velosiped yolları, velosiped çığırları yaradılması, velosipedlər üçün parklanma yerlərinin yaradılması. Bunlar hamısı yenidən şəhər küçələrinin bölüşdürülməsini və orada çox ciddi sərmayə tutumlu işlərin görülməsini tələb edir. Daha sonra bizim ölkəmizdə bildiyiniz kimi hələ də ictimai nəqliyyatın üstünlük təşkil edən avtobuslara kommersiya fəaliyyəti kimi baxılır. Təbii ki, bu yanlış bir şeydir. İctimai nəqliyyat və orada gəlir əldə olunması praktik olaraq mümkündür. Bu sosial bir xidmətdir. Ona görə də bu istiqamətdəki iqtisadi problem həll olunmalıdır. Operatorların cəlb olunması, yəni daşıyıcıların cəlb olunması ilə bağlı problemlər var. Problem ondan ibarətdir ki, bizdə hal-hazırda formalaşmış təcrübəyə görə istehsalat bazası olmalıdır, avtobusları olmalıdır ki, bu daşıyıcı kimi müsabiqə əsasında daşımaları cəlb olunsun. Amma dediyim kimi, bu sahə mənfəətli sahə olmadığına görə heç kəs ora özəl biznes olaraq investisiya qoymaq istəmir. Yaxşı olar ki, dövlət özü avtobus parklarını yaratsın, həmin o bazanı yaratsın və bu işi bacaran, idarə etməni bacaran, təşkilatçılığı bacaran operatorları cəlb eləsin. Bu daha maraqlı olar, mən düşünürəm ki. Əhali yanaşmasında da maraqlı yanlışlıqlarımız var. Yanlışlarımız bir ondan ibarətdir ki, biz ənənəvi olaraq fərdi avtomobillərdən istifadə eləməyə hələ də üstünlük veririk və bəzən biz görürük ki, fərdi avtomobillər olan şəxs gündəlik yer dəyişmələrini məhz fərdi avtomobillərlə etməyə cəhd edir ki, bu da əslində həmin küçələrdə sıxlığın yaranmasının səbəblərindən biridir. Və bunun da elə əksi olaraq ictimai nəqliyyatda biz laqeyd münasibəti görürük. Təbii ki, fərdi avtomobildən istifadəyə meyilli olan adam çalışır ki, yolda həmişə fərdi avtomobili ilə olsun və o ictimai nəqliyyat onu maraqlandırmır ən azından. Digər bir məsələ, mikromobilliyə, yəni velosiped və digər bu fərdi nəqliyyat vasitələrinə, fərdi yerdəyişmə mobillik vasitələrinə maraq azdır. Orada da müəyyən problemlər var. Məsələn, psixoloji problemlər var. Məsələn, bəzi insanlar düşünürlər ki, elementar o, mən hara, velosiped hara. Bax, bu düşüncəni də dəyişmək lazımdır. Buna ehtiyac var. Dayanıqlı şəhər nəqliyyatının yaradılması üçün bir sıra tədbirlərə ehtiyac var. Mən onları qısaca sadalamaq istəyirəm. Bax, yol hərəkət təhlükəsinə dair dövlət proqramında göstərilibdir. bütün yaşayış məntəqələrimizin, şəhərlərimizin mobillik planları olmalıdır, şəhər salma planları əsasında. Daha sonra sadaladığım o iqtisadi problemlər, institusional problemlər, əhalinin yanaşmasındakı problemlər həll olunmalıdır. Paytaxt Bakıda xüsusi ciddi işlərə ehtiyac var. Məsələn, Bakı üçün cəmi 27 stansiyadan ibarət olan metropoliten doğrudan da çox azdır. Bakı metropoliteninə ciddi investisiyalar qoyulub, Bakı metropoliteninin şəbəkəsi genişləndirilməlidir. Avtobus şəbəkəsi hər tərəfə genişləndirilməlidir. İqtisadi tərəfindən bunu xüsusi qeyd etmək istəyirəm. Çox ciddi investisiyalar qoyulmalıdır ki, ölkəmizə ən müasir və ekoloji təmiz avtobuslar gətirilsin. Burada ümidverici məqamlar da var. Bu il 2023-cü ildə Nəqliyyatı Əlaqələndirmə Şurası yaradıldı. Mən düşünürəm ki, həmin şura daha aydın bir nəqliyyat sahəsində siyasət müəyyən edəcək və o siyasətin həyata keçirilməsi üçün o iqtisadi imkanlar, sonra institusional məsələlər hamısı öz həllini tapacaq və ən yaxşı nəqliyyat modellərinin yaradılmasına biz şahid olacağıq. Maraqlı məsələlərdən biri də işğaldan azad olunmuş ərazilərin potensialıdır. Mən düşünürəm ki, məndən əvvəl də deyildi, bizim həmin azad olunmuş şəhərlərimizdə ən müasir nəqliyyat modelləri yaradaraq onları digər şəhərlərimizdə tətbiq edə bilərik. Məsəl üçün, Füzulidə, Ağdamda, Zəngilanda və ən maraqlısı, məsələn, Laçında və Kəlbəcərdə dağ şəhərlərinin gözəl bir nəqliyyat modelini yaradıb tətbiq eləmək olar. Bu sayədə həm də beynəlxalq təcrübədən yararlanmaq lazımdır. Təbii ki, Azərbaycanın öz potensialını diqqətlə nəzərə almaqla. Çox sağ olun, diqqətinizə görə təşəkkür edirəm.
Thank you so much, Ashat Malim, for a comprehensive presentation and the idea for future, especially for liberated area, how the sustainable transportation should be in there. Now we are coming to a Q&A session, and just raise your hand if you want to ask the question, to address the question to the panelists. Before, I just wanted to ask all of our panelists if they want to respond. Please feel free. My question, the first question is that what are the currently sustainable transportation trends are they across the Europe and Asia or America, and how you see those trends as an opportunity and the challenges addressing and integrating the cities where it's already well established.
Hi, thank you for this question. I could start. Especially after COVID, there was a very strong, I'll talk for Europe because that's what I know best for now. There was a very strong effort to, especially in the center of cities, to try to take cars out of the center of cities and to really, really support walkability and micromobility in cities. And this we see it was already more successful in the European North and Scandinavia and other parts of the European North. But we saw it more intensely happening in the European South as well. And there is this kind of hope that electromobility would also be a chance to change the way that our cities work in a more sustainable way, apart from just kind of having each car be an electric car, but that we will manage to create much more electrified public transportation and shared mobility and other types of new mobility methods that can actually move cities away from this one person, one car, or even one person, two cars, to a different type of city that is actually much more less dependable on single ownership. and much less dependable on fossil fuels. And this is we see it very strongly as a trend in Europe right now.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I think it's interesting because the last thing we want to do is stop people coming into their cities. We need our cities to be vibrant places. In the UK at the moment, though, we are seeing people change the way they move around their cities. A lot of the younger generation, some of them aren't taking their driving tests anymore, and they're relying much more on the use of Ubers to move around city centres. We know, of course, that we're all moving towards more electrical cars, so maybe there will be pods driving around city centres in due course, which people can jump on and off. So yeah, we have to think about how we can move people around our city centres, but not in their own cars, as you quite rightly said. And I think that is a trend that will continue.
I totally agree, but can I add something? It's challenging. It's not simple. So mayors and local authorities have often to deal with a lot of backlash from the people who still want to have their cars and to move around in their cars. So it's very challenging, and it's not an easy feat, but it seems to be a very strong trend, I think, still.
Thank you, boss.
I am fully agree our colleagues, but I would like to also add something, remarks that it doesn't matter. We want to diversify integrated transport mode. We need to create a balance, to follow the balance that exceeding the balance sometimes creates negative feedback from people. So that's why we need, yes, micro-mobility vehicles and electric buses, but also we need to decentralize city to create pedestrian. For example, 30 minutes pedestrian zone, people can reach walking, and we need to create city workable for people, pedestrians, also to interconnection, multimodality between the transport modes.
Thank you so much. I saw the hands over here, already 3 persons. Please go ahead.
Hello. Good morning. My name is Zaina Nazir from Cities Forum London, where we love congestion charging. My question is for Mr. Haydar Rustamov. I would like to know what are your thoughts about congestion charging and parking payment in Baku. So having been in Baku, I mean, the traffic is just a bit too much. So it would be nice to see your plans and your views about that.
So thank you for the questions. We have started applying paid parking zone. We separated the city 4 zones, starting center and first zone. We are installing and applying parking, and we are seeing the effects of the center that people in the car is significantly decreased. But we think that expanding, applying also parking zone in the edge of the city, urban area, we will get success for decentralizing using individual cars in the center. But second part of your questions, congestion obstacle, just we are not look through this because we are taking mentality and people's point of view. That's why it is maybe our next few years we will look through this as to applying congestion free in the going and through the city center going to the another camp. But that's why we are in the future we are going to be.
Buyurun David müəllim.
Təşəkkür edirəm ilk öncə təşkilatçılara və gələn qonaqlara salamlayıram Azərbaycana. Mən Davud Rəhimli, Azərbaycan Əlil Təşkilatları İttifaqının rəhbəriyəm. Bugünkü panellərdə əsasən inklüzivlikdən qeyd olundu və biz analoji bir tədbirlə eyni zamanda keçən ildə iştirak etmişdik və orada bizim təqdimatlarımız olmuşdur və bu ildə biz Zəngilanda olduq. İşğaldan azad olunmuş ərazilərdə biz yeni layihələndirmə tikinti işlərlə tanış olduq və çox fərəhləndirici haldır ki, biz Zəngilanda artıq olduğumuz konqres mərkəzində demək olar ki, inklüzivliyin tam təmin olunması istiqamətində işləri gördük. Mən özüm bir əlilliyi olan şəxs kimi orada tam sərbəst özümü hiss edirdim. Və burada təqdimatlarda əlbəttə ki, qeyd olundu. Şəhərlərimiz, xüsusilə də işğaldan azad olunmuş şəhərlərimizdə olan layihələndirmə və tikinti işləri zamanı mən keçən ildə Andriyan sizin təqdimatınızda əsasən sizə bir müraciət etmişdim və burada ən əsas məsələlərdən biri də odur ki, yaxşı olardı ki, mobilliyin əlilliyi olan şəxslər üçün mobilliyin təmin olunması istiqamətində əlilliyin bütün kateqoriyaları nəzərə alınırdı. Burada tək tutaq ki, bizdə çox vaxt istinad olunur təkərli kürsülərdə olan əlilliyi olan şəxslərə, ancaq nəzərə alaq ki, əlilliyin digər kateqoriyaları vardır və onlar üçün də bu mobilliyin təmin olunmasına ciddi ehtiyaclar vardır. Və çox yaxşı, mənim sualım yox, daha təklifim odur ki, fürsətdir bizim işğaldan azad olunmuş ərazilərdə, tək şəhərlərdə yox, eyni zamanda kəndlərdə də mobilliyin, müəssərliyin təmin olunması istiqamətində ilkin vaxtlardan, layihələndirmə vaxtlarından və sonra da həmin işlərə müəssərliyin təmin olunmasının standartlara uyğun qaydalarda aparılmasına riayət olunsun. Çox sağ olun, diqqətinizə görə təşəkkür edirəm.
Thank you so much, David Madam, to bring up the citizen engagement design of the cities, and also for considering the different group of the citizens who have specific needs. And while we design those cities, we also should concentrate those addressing those needs. We have only the last question behind, and then we are closing the session.
Hello. So thanks for the opportunity to ask a question. My name is Ibrahim. I am a blogger from Azerbaijan. So I made some notes. Today, during 2 sessions, we raised really interesting topics regarding social problems, regarding urban problems, etc. To be honest, I don't know who to ask my question, but I hope Halisa Hanım will help me on this matter. So my question is, most cities today are built with urban mistakes. I think all over the world. So does this mean, sorry, I'm kind of nervous. Does this mean we have to destroy cities in order to build, to rebuild it and like to create new community, to create new cities? And how we have to preserve the historical, architectural sites, monuments, culture, and appearance of the city. So I try to be brief as possible. Thank you.
I think that's a very good question, because when you look at a lot of our cities, they've responded to the car too much. They've become over-dominated by the highway systems that have been put in place. If you look at how the city would have been, say, 150 years ago, it would be very, very different. So in master planning terms, I think we should be trying to look backwards to the way the cities used to operate, and then work out how we can introduce appropriate transport systems into a solution that is less dominated by highway. Maybe we're looking at keeping cars to the outside of the cities, as has been discussed today, that we're looking at much softer forms of transport to move people through cities, but in a much more natural urban form, rather than heavily dominated highways which are difficult to cross. So it's a very good question, and I think a lot of cities will be looking at how they can reposition themselves to bring them back to serving the people rather than just the car.
Thank you so much. It's bring upon the very responsibility and professionalism of the designers, decision makers, how to make the city more people-centric. And please.
I totally agree, and I think you gave a really good way to answer this great question, because I think we really have to understand that our cities were very much built in a specific way for the industrial era and for the time of where fossil fuels were the most powerful mobilizer of capital, of people, and of creating urban centers. And we have to really start shifting away from that. We have to start shifting away from giving priority to the type of mobility that we had as highways and cars and all these things, because these are all things that are really not suited for the climate that we have to face. So we have to go backwards and really look at how cities used to be before we started heating and cooling them and moving in them because of fossil fuels. Go back and see how did cities work? What kind of things can we bring to the present and put them together with innovation and new technologies and create the new type of city that is more livable in an environment that is a very different environment from what we live right now. And I think it has a lot to do with going to the past and going to heritage and figuring out this amazing knowledge that we have had in vernacular architecture and in ways that our cities had developed more organically, and take that and link it to more innovative, more knowledgeable, more design solutions that we know today and create new types of cities. And I'm really hopeful for that.
Thank you so much. Heydar Məlim, Arshad Məlim, do you have a last comment or message? Heydar Məlim, son sözünüz var. Nəsə demək istəyirsiniz?
Təşəkkür edirəm. Çox sağ olun.
Okay. Now we are closing this session. I would like to thank you once again, our panelists, for an interesting presentation, and all of you to have a question and listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for very insightful presentations and interesting discussions. Just a brief announcement that, today we're concluding our National Urban Forum, and the declared actions of the forum are already on the website, nufa.az, so you can view the declared actions there. And the brief short coffee break, 10 minutes, and then we will move to the next and last session of the day. Thank you.